You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, got to thank my man, the Mr. Eminem himself, not the rapper or the candy rapper, all the way from the magical land of Canada, Mr. Mickey Mickelson, for hooking me up for another fabulous author, baby, from the Creative Edge Publicity crew, baby. That's right, the KEP crew, yeah, or the SEP. Yeah, let's go with SEP, yeah, CEP, that works a lot better and not butter. But it ain't about butter, folks. It's about this super special, awesome human I got today, folks. A wonderful mom based out of the Jersey Shore who is a adult thriller author, certified professional coach. This chick's got certifications for days, folks, like Energy Leadership Index, part of the ICF, the IPEC, Dare to Lead, trained under Brene Brown. And she's a wonderful wife, mom, and what makes it even better, and not butter, see, there we go with that butter again, is that she's also working on a certification in happiness. So let's give it up for the one, the only, KR herself, Miss Kristina Rienzi. How you doing, Kristina?
Oh my God, after that intro, I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much. That was great. Makes me sound really cool. I don't know if that's true, but thank you.
Don't worry, you're cooler than two cucumbers.
I love it. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Happy to see you too. Been waiting for this one. Indeed. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Now I'm scared. Just kidding. I'm a thriller author. I like to be scared.
Yeah, she's adulting. She's lying. Let me stop.
True. This is true. That's true. I'm scared of everything. That's why I write about scary stuff.
Oh, well, there's a quote for the episode.
Right? It's so true. And it really is. I write about what terrifies me. And then you have the coaching to balance it out. So, you're helping people, feeling good, positive vibes, and then you write about the scary stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like halfway in the conversation, you just pop up out of nowhere. It's like, hey, so did you see that random guy in a bunny suit in your kitchen? And they'd be
right?
Like, what?
Yeah. I'd be out the back door. No. Not
it's like,
okay.
It's like, crap. Maybe I should ask about their dreams again before the Easter bunny suit. Never mind.
Right?
I'll get them on the next coaching call.
Oh my gosh. That would be scary. Yeah, for sure. Not my cup of tea.
It's okay. It's A-okay. There's also green tea and black tea out there too.
That's true. And coffee, which does sustain me most days. So gotta have it all.
Oh, you're a coffee drinker. I love it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I love it.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 76 days long. So mind filling in any cavities I missed about you?
No, I don't think so. I think you got everything. Now you know who I am. Done. See, it was that easy.
Well, all right. So where can we find out about you? The interview's over. I was the best.
Yeah, I know, right? That's it. I mean, KristinaRienzi.com. Moving on. You got it all there. Yeah. I mean, we talked about, being an author and a coach, and, that's like, the duality of my life. I love writing, and I do nonfiction. I do fiction. I like the positive. I like the inspirational and the helpful, motivational, empowering. And I also like scaring. I like to be scared. I think when you're scared, you overcome obstacles you wouldn't have overcome, because fear in a fiction sense pushes you to explore things and to go the next step. And then in life, you push yourself. And I think I do think the writing, nonfiction and fiction go together. I mean, I think I'm trying to do the same thing for people, entertain, but also empower. That's important to me.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. And it's so true, because you're actually the first author on here who I believe is actually a life coach and writes thriller novels. Like like when you think of the two, they usually don't go together on paper when you think about it. Where we're in this creative age where it's like, well, you know what? I'm creative. Let me do both. And it's like you do both. So what So what came first? Was it the love for the thriller novels, or was it just wanting to see people smile? Like what came first? Was it the coaching or just the writing?
So I've always written my whole life since I was little. I wrote scary stories, literally always. And I think by also wanting to be an author, I also wanted to be my goal and like my big, like, what do you want to do when you grow up was author. But then it became, I wanted to be a psychologist. Like that was where I wanted to go. So I went down that road. I did my master's in counseling and I quickly switched over to corporate America because I was very young at the time that I got that degree. And I decided I'm not ready. I wasn't, me personally, mature enough. I was really getting upset by what I was seeing. So I really needed a break. And I took that kind of expertise into the corporate world. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like they both came at the same time because I was always a writer. I always wrote stories. So probably story came first. And then I realized I was a helper and I wanted to do a helping profession. So yeah, and it's funny you ask because they're so different. They're really a lot of the same. Like when I actually sit down and go, well, what am I doing? Who am I? It's like I am someone who wants to inspire and empower people to be the best they can be and live their life and be happy. And even though my stories are scary, the goal of those stories is to give people the confidence and excitement to face fears and overcome them and triumph at the end, which is what I hope my characters are doing. And I hope that the people reading it are riding that wave along. So there is a point to it. And I realized, I think, as I'm writing my thriller novels more professionally about 10 years ago, that I had all the psychology background. I had all of this already. And coaching to me was like the logical next thing to do. It was like, okay, I've dealt with the abnormal psychology of life. You know, psychology is about fixing trauma. It's about healing the past and bringing you from dysfunction to function. Coaching is about function to optimal performance. So
Mm.
I really wanted to go forward. So now I feel like I've got that whole, like, a well-rounded experience and also education, and it just helps me really live life better. That's what it is. You know, whatever I do, whether I become continue to be a professional author, continue to be a coach, or do something else, I have feel like I've equipped myself to live a good life and to help others do the same thing. That's really what I feel like my calling is. And that's important for me when I'm here to be doing that. So if it's through fiction, great. If it's through coaching, great. If it's through something else, great. It's like I'm showing up the way I want to show up every day. And that's important to me.
Oh yeah. That's right. Fabulosity and all. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm
Dude.
trying. It's not easy. Sometimes some days are harder than others. We're human, we're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna have hard times. It's not all bright and sunny, no matter how much we would like that. That's not reality. So we've got to deal with the dark stuff too. And that's what the books do also. They deal with dark stuff, dark, hard stuff that sometimes is hidden in a paranormal story. It's sometimes hidden in a reality kind of story, like a domestic thriller. But this is life. It's not at all perfect or what it seems. And you've got to make the best of it, but also deal with things that come up. I think that's important too. I think, just not dealing with things is not going to help you get to the next level and grow and develop. That's important to me.
Oh yeah, you can say that again. It's
Mhm.
like, hey, feel the fear and do it anyway. It's like,
That's
oh,
right. Yeah. And if it's something, like I always say, there's a difference because I'm afraid, like we were joking before, I'm afraid of everything. I'm afraid of a lot of things. I have a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear, but I recognize that who I am. That's just who I am. It doesn't mean I let it take my life over. I address it and I decide. Some things I'm afraid of are legitimate and I absolutely put my foot down. I'm not going there. Other things I'm afraid of because it's a growth thing and I'm holding myself back. And when I figure that out, I go forward because if I'm excited but afraid, I've got to do it. If I'm afraid and it's debilitating, then I've got to deal with it in a different way. But that's how I kind of make my decisions on what I actually do. Like, am I going to go skydiving? No, that's not for me. I'm not a scuba diver either. That's not for me. But I did go zip lining.
woohoo!
It's a huge for me. That's not me, my personality. I'm a rule follower, not a risk taker, So, but that was an exciting yet scary thing. And I'm like, I'm excited, but I'm scared. Do I let fear take over? No. I'm going to go do it. Other things just terrify me for reasons that I probably need to deal with, and I'm just not willing to do. And that's me personally. But I think if the idea behind really surely I mean, you know what the idea behind coaching is, and everybody's, it's that's kind of clear. It's positivity, change, growth, and all that stuff. But where I get my high, so to speak, from thriller writing is about that feeling, that thrill, that excitement, that danger, but then that human in you and the characters pushing past to the next level, because that's how they know they're going to change, and for the better, or sometimes for the worse, but in a way that serves a purpose. And so I feel like, yeah, it is interesting how the two seem so different, but they're really not. They're a lot alike.
Ah, yeah. That's right. That's right indeed. It's like, hey, if you scare them once and then they survive, it's like, oh, maybe I could do it again.
Yeah, definitely. And when you read a story, I know this happens to me as an avid reader and writer, you feel like you ride alongside your character. So you feel at the end like you didn't do it, the character did it, but you practiced the emotions of it, and you felt the joy and the sadness and the scare, the fear. And so you're training yourself in a way for that, and I think there is, it is therapeutic. It is cathartic to read. Reading is more than just reading a story. You're emotionally involved. And there is something to be said about that. We're emotional beings. We're human. We're social and emotional beings. And reading is an essential part of storytelling, especially. Maybe, you listen to your books like I do as well, or reading them, but story is an essential part of who we are. We tell stories to our friends. We tell stories, we tell ourselves things, we tell people things, but we certainly live through story for sure. So I love being a part of that for someone, and hope that anybody who picks up a book of mine is on the ride with me and is somehow changed in even a small way, that they want to, in a developed or grown in a even a tiny, teeny way. That makes me feel good if that happens.
Ah, there you go. Feeling good with 7 O's, I bet.
Yeah, feeling good. Just that's what it's all about. That's what happiness is. Feeling good. Feeling good most of the time. That's, and whatever that means for you, for sure.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
So with all these wonderful certifications and then getting a certification in happiness, like what led to that? Because that's something that, well, I wouldn't say a lot of folks think about, but it's like something that you don't hear about every day.
Yeah, it is. It's something you don't hear about every day. It's funny because the coaching certification took me a year to get. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of coaching, a lot of everything. And through that, it's really about well-being. And an opportunity came up through my coaching school to get a certificate in happiness studies, which really is well-being, right? It's well-being in all forms. And I thought, who doesn't want to be happy?
Yeah.
And who isn't pursuing happiness? And how many times are we pursuing the wrong things that we think are going to make us happy? So initially, I took a little class um, on the science behind well-being on Coursera. It was offered through Yale, and it was a tiny little, it was free, and it was, a few weeks. I think it was 10 weeks, and I really was interested in because literally the way that we live our life, most of us live our life, is not going to get us happy. So all the things we learn, the data behind that, what doesn't make us happy that we think does, such as money, such as things, such as, all of this stuff. What really makes us happy, and how can we get more of that? And it's not, it's the stuff people talk about, but you go, yeah, but if I make more money, I want to be happier. You were so programmed to think like that we're not listening to the data, and we're not looking at the happiness is truly about having meaning in life, being present in the moment, and experiencing life right where you are right now. And there's more to it than that. But my point is, that opened my eyes, and I thought the data is so clear. Why isn't everybody happy? This is easy stuff. Just do these things and you'll be happy. Well, of course nothing's that easy. So then, yeah, I pursued, and things like, how simple, because here's the deal, like I know a lot of things because I study them. It doesn't mean I implement them all. I know I'm supposed to exercise, so many days a week, so many minutes. It's like, if I find time, I do it, but I don't, it's just because doesn't mean you're going to do it. So I knew
Mhm.
all this stuff, and everybody that took the class, or every data that we know it. Do we do it? No, because it's a difficult thing to create a habit. And especially when you're doing something that everything else is telling you is wrong. Like you're not, you're pursuing this. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with success or money or all of those things. It's the mindset you have about it. But I think when we have the wrong mindset, we start living our life to fulfill a need that is never going to bring us true peace and happiness and joy in life, which is what life is all about. So we go down the wrong path and we don't even realize it. And we are being, quite honestly, reinforced by everything in the media, social media, just in general, because we're all, watching the same stuff and hearing the same stuff. And we think we have to have the nicest car on the block to be the cool kid. And that's just not, and that's going to make me happy. And that's just not real. So I really wanted to get to the heart of it. And I thought so many people are unhappy. And with the pandemic, it was like tenfold. So I'm like, this is a really good time to start taking this class, this certification course, because I want to help myself, but I also want to help others. And I want to understand like the reality. So basically the certificate in happiness studies is a deeper dive into well-being and what the data is behind it and what it looks like. And then I hope, my goal is to take that information and share it in a way that's helpful. Like right now I'm working on a nonfiction book called Be Happy Now. And it's going to be, a short little quick thing that it's going to go free to my newsletter subscribers first. And then eventually it will get out into the world. But I'm working on all the science behind it. And I want to have something that's quick and easy that you just go, okay, here's what I need to do. And here's why. And hopefully anyone who reads it takes one thing away and does that one thing and just knows like, okay, my thing is this that I'm going to do to help me feel good. Because it is sad and it upsets me that so many people are struggling in so many ways. And truly, happiness truly does come from within, but it's being able to access that isn't easy. It is not. And even with knowing everything I know, I still struggle because I'm human and because life and because it's a work in progress and we got to give ourselves. So that's the other piece of it's like, give yourself a break. You're not going to be happy 24/7. That's not the goal. But the goal is to make it a priority that you love life and experience life with joy as much as you can. And it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to have all those feelings. They're healthy, but don't live there because that's when it gets damaging and you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve happiness. And it's a work in progress. So that was kind of where I went with that. It was like, this was really important to me. And I thought, how can I help in this pandemic? How can I help with mental health and with everybody who's struggling, including me? How can I be of service? And I thought, well, maybe understanding this a little bit more and being a voice for it. And, the book is a piece of it, but it's not about the book. It's about me living my life in a way that I'm proud of and that I can be a good human and and maybe help somebody along the way. That's important to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's so true. It's like the things that are easy to do are easy not to do, as Jim Rohn would say. And it's
Definitely.
probably one of my favorite quotes from him because it's like it's so simple, yet that's like the fact of life for everybody. It's like we all know what we should be doing. It's
Mhm.
just like, I don't know, this Netflix. I don't know. I just want to Netflix and chill a bit. You know what? This ice cream is looking really good. It's
Mhm.
calling to me. It doesn't even have my number, but it's calling me. It's like, should I go to the gym? Should I work out at home? Like, nah, I'll probably get all sweaty. Like, forget
Yep.
this. It's like so,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
you
it's
got to
like so
pick your
much.
thing. You got to pick your thing. Like you, and I always, whenever I used to do stuff, I would go in 120% and I'm like doing 75 things and nothing's working. And now you know what I mean? Like I'm dieting, I'm eating, I'm not, having any wine. I'm not eating any chocolate. I'm going to diet. I'm also going to exercise and I'm going to write and I'm going to no, it's not normal. So I try to pick like one thing that resonates with me in the moment and I work on that. And if I'm comfortable with that and it becomes a part of my life, I'll pick something else. But I really do not try to do everything at once. It's not feasible and it's really a lot of pressure. And then I feel like I failed if I don't get it all done. So I just give myself a lot more breaks. I kind of go like, it's okay. Like just because you didn't write this week doesn't mean you're never going to write again. It's okay. like pick it back up when you're ready. And then like hopefully the positive feeling you get from doing something you enjoy or that's good for you will reinforce it and you'll keep going. But if you don't, it's okay. Like not everybody who exercises is, a super fitness guru. Like you can just do it your way and do it what make, because this is your life to live and you've got to do you. And no matter what anybody says, you've got to do what's right for you. And that's the only thing. And that's the one thing I will say, the one thing I took away from coaching and all the training and all the education was that when you are a coach and you're helping someone, you do not, I don't have the answers. The client has the answers. They know what's best for them. My job is to support them and to help them figure it out and then to help them get over what's holding them back and meet their goals. It's not me telling you what to do. That would be what's right for me. I am there to support without any attachment to the outcome, what's right for you. And every one of us knows that. We just sometimes need help figuring it out, but it's in there. And I find myself like I was going to make a decision this week and I'm like, I need a coach right now because I had, I go in and out of like, I've had coaches and I love them. And I'm like, I need to get my coach again because I can't figure this decision out. And no matter how much I know about coaching, it's stuck inside of me. And why am I struggling? It's decision making, So yeah, we all know what's right for us. So no matter what anybody tells us, even if it's a friend and you get an opinion, friends will give you your opinion or family and you take it in, but then take a step back and think like, what do I want? And if nobody cared what I did, and if I didn't care what they thought, what would I do? And you got to focus on that because a lot of times we do make decisions based on like expectations or people pleasing or someone telling us, and then we go down that road and it's like a lot of wasted energy and time. Like you've got to do for you what works for you. Bottom line.
Yeah, that's right. The bottom line that matters indeed. That's right. That's right indeed. So you got this new magical nonfiction book coming out for your newsletter subscribers first. So nonfiction, so finally jumping in, huh?
I am. I was scared. I was holding myself back because I thought, who am I to write a book like this? Like who am I? And I don't know how many letters I have after my name. Who am I? That's the work I had to do on myself to say I'm just somebody who wants to help. And if I look at it from a point of helping versus expertise, I'm taking information from what I've learned and I'm trying to consolidate it and make it a simple read for people that need it. Yeah, it's about helping. It's about maybe adding value, not just for people who subscribe to my newsletter, because I want to reward them for sure for being loyal, but it's for anybody that needs it. This was my way. I thought, how can I help? I can write. That's how I can help. And I have the education and information and motivation and I care. And this is what I can do. So that was where it really came from. But yeah, I'm excited I'm nervous because it's a different world in nonfiction and I'm no like individual expert on any one thing. I feel like I have a ton of experience in so many different areas in psychology and behavior and coaching and all this stuff, but I'm like everybody else who's learning. I'm a perpetual learner. I'm a work in progress myself. So that's kind of how I'm broaching it. It's like I want to help with what I know, and if somebody resonates for someone, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay too. There's tons of information out there. So I just feel like it's a way for me to help.
There you go, indeed. Oh, don't worry, it'll help. Funny enough, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, like that book was nothing but research. Like that was all that the book was. Some people may forget about that. Like, hey, so stuff can happen. Good stuff can happen.
And whatever's meant, and I'm also one of those mindset, like whatever's meant to be will be. I don't do anything for a desired outcome. Like it would be great if something like that, but that's not like I do what I love to do and see what happens. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. I can't, when you're writing a book, even as a fiction author, like in the beginning, I was like, I have to have this many sales and this much rating on Amazon. Like I let that go. I wrote the book, I did my work, I'll do the best I can to promote it, but I'm not going to stress about it. If the world accepts it and enjoys it, great. If they don't, they don't. And I don't have control over that. And I think as an author, we do try to control that. And there's a little bit we can do for sure, but we cannot control how something's received. So you just put it out there, do your very best, tell people about it, and see what it does. And if it does something, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Cause I think the joy was in the writing of it and the producing of it. And for me, seeing the end and having a hardcover in my hands is like amazing. That's my joy. Whatever happens from that point on is, is out of my hands. But yeah, I think that mindset is important. It helped me get through continuing writing versus going, oh my gosh, my first book didn't become a #1 New York Times bestseller. That's a shocker. Let me never write again. Let me never write again. I'm done. And I've had those moments with editors and I'm like, I'm done. I'm burning the book. And they're like, what? I'm like, I'm setting it on fire. Like, there's no need to keep going. And they're like, no, you're going to write it and fix it and you're going to go forward. And I did. And it was, if for nothing else, I was proud of myself for doing the tough stuff. And that's what it's about. Like, I'm challenging me. And then if somebody loves it, great. If they don't, that's okay too. Like, I'm not out there to compete with other authors. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to be me and do me, and write what excites me and what feels good to me, because that's what I'm going to put my energy into. So yeah, it's all about your mindset about it. It's not easy. And it's a lot of times I just give up, but I come back, keep coming back.
So speaking of coming back, do you feel like you'll ever start a Twitter or Facebook account ever again?
You know what's really funny? I did go back on Facebook, not as an author, but as a human, just a normal human. Because Instagram was great. And I have my Instagram account, my professional account, and then I have a little family account. But yeah, I don't know. It's never say never. I don't not like them. It's just, there was a time in my life where it was overwhelming me and there was too much happening and it was too much like coming at me, like too much information. And I wanted to streamline it and kind of focus. So I do have my personal profile on Facebook for family and friends, and I scan it. And then, as long as it's not bringing me down, I'll hang out there. And Instagram, I love. But yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I just, I think there are times where we have to know what we have time for and what we don't, and what's helping us and what's hurting us. And it was a point where I feel like it was not helping me and it was holding me back. And I didn't like that. And so, no, nothing negative about Facebook or Twitter. They're great tools. I wasn't in the mindset to use them the way they needed. So yeah, I was kind of like pause. But I love Instagram, was more of like a place I found inspiration and positivity and was able to share that freely. And I got feedback that was good there and it felt good. And I know that's like, it's not everything's good in life, right? But I wanted my social media experience. Like, I look at social media, it's social first. So like, what happens when you're being social? Like, I'm thinking I go to a party, right? This is how it was explained to me. Like, when you're in social media, you're at a party. You're talking to people, you're connecting, you're there. You're not there to start a fight. This is me and the way I was taught. You're not there to, get in it with somebody or whatever, because then, you're not going to want to come back. So my whole thing about social media is like, I'm showing up to add value and to connect. And if I'm not adding value or connecting, then I can keep in touch with my friends on my phone. I don't need it. And that was kind of where I was. It was like, it wasn't serving me. It was pulling me down a rabbit hole and dark hole. And I just was feeling terrible about everything, about myself, about the world, about people. And I was feeling sad. And it was just going in a bad direction. I thought, you know what, let me take a break and let me come back with a new mindset about how I'm going to use this thing. And I want to use it to connect with people and to understand people and to be a part of community and to offer empathy and friendship. And and also, I mean, there is a platform there for obviously promotion. It's a little bit, but I'm so bad at that. Like, I'm the worst promoter of anything of myself. I just want to like not do it. I just want to just show up and be like, let's just hang out, don't worry about my books. You want to buy a book, that's great, but like, I just don't. It's a very uncomfortable area for me. But yeah, so I think you've got to use social media to what feels good. If you like doing video, do your video. If you like, whatever platform, go for that. And if it starts to become a burden or a nuisance or feel like work, shift it up, change it a little, make it, because it should be a party. It should be, I'm showing up to be there. And sometimes at parties, people are upset and you got to put your arm around them and give them a hug. Like, that's okay. It's not all happy, but it's social. How do we treat our friends? How do we treat our family? How do we want to be a social being in this world? And that social person shows up on social media. And that's how I look at it. And there are other people who feel differently and use it for different reasons. But for me, it needed to be a positive force in my life. And if it wasn't, then I couldn't show up there. There's enough going on that, in life that is going to challenge you. I wanted social media to be a sanctuary, not a difficult place for me to go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Last year was probably the with the political climate
Oh
and
my,
everything. That's probably the main
everything.
reason.
I was literally, and I have a lot of, people have said I'm an empath, whatever. It's like sensitive to energy. I cannot watch. I like thriller and I like all that, but certain things hurt me like very deeply, and I can't function. Like I just think about it and I get very upset. And there are things that, yeah, it just was like I was in pain a lot on Facebook and Twitter and even Instagram. And yeah, it was like it wasn't that I didn't want to be helpful, but I felt like I wasn't helpful because I was upset and I had to take a step back. And that was why I think I worked on happiness. I took Dare to Lead classes with Brene Brown. I did these things because I thought I got to get myself back here. Like I'm struggling like a lot of people were last year for so many reasons. And I'm not happy. And this is not who I want to be. This isn't how I want to live my life. I wanted a different feeling and so yeah, I felt like I had to reset the clock, and now I'm a better, and I can better able handle, things. But yeah, you just got to know when you need a timeout. I think I needed a timeout in a lot of regard. I,
So I had to go in the corner, huh?
I
Had to
had to
go in the
go in the
corner
corner and take a
and be
timeout.
sad.
I know I had to sit there and
Yeah.
just go like time out, take a break, take a breath, breathe, meditate, like that, just take a break.
So Kit Kats
It's all
ahoy.
good.
That's what I'm talking about. Kit Kats ahoy. So
Mhm.
since this is far from your first rodeo, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often?
Um, that's a great question. That question. That's a great question. Now we're just gonna go in a loop that takes us down the Twilight Zone. I don't even know. What question I wish I was asked is just maybe, how I think I could add value, in this climate. I think that because I'm always asking myself that question, how, I'm somebody who's trying to help, right? Like I want to empower people and everything. How can I add value? And I think I asked myself that question a lot, like I said, and I think I'm still figuring out the answer, but I think it's just I literally think it's as simple as every single day deciding how I want to show up in life, who I'm going to be, being aware of it and making sure I'm putting that person forward and not letting things get to me to the point where I spiral and get, too angry and don't stop, or too upset and don't stop. Like I deal with my things, but I think it's like I have to decide, like making the choice as to who I'm going to be. I always show up better than I wanted to. Like I always am proud of who I am, but it's that conscious effort. And I think that's how I add value, because that helps me write better. It helps me be a better person to everyone in my life. It helps me just be able to be there for people and not get so caught up in just every day. So I'm always asking myself, how can I add value in whatever situation? What is my role here? And I think just knowing that I'm going to show up as the best person I can be. I don't have control over what happens. Like life is going to happen, things are going to happen, but I have control over who I present as and who I show up as and how my mind is, my mindset is, and what I do. So that sometimes I have to hit the pause button and go like, who do you want to be right now? Because you're upset or you're this or you're that. Is that okay? Do you need to put yourself aside to help a friend? Do that right now. Forget about your stress, or do I have to show up as somebody who is upset to get something done? Do I have to show up? How do I have to be? And it's a choice versus just unconsciously going through life, which is a lot of what I did prior to, the year I went through the coach training. I just kind of just was who I was, and that was it. I had no clue how I was coming off to people, even though many people would say like I was the same. Inside, I wasn't, now I know it's a choice and I make it and I'm comfortable with whatever that is, at the end of the day. So That was a great question.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Having you have that rubber band swag, right? Expands your
Mhm.
mind.
It is. That's what I like.
That's,
Definitely.
that's right. Expanding minds instead of waistlines, right?
That's true. Well, that's happening too with COVID, but what can you do?
Oh, yeah.
It's all good. You know what? You got to give yourself a break. Everybody's got to give himself a break from 2020 and still 2021. We're still in it. So we got to just be kind to ourselves.
Sweet. So, what does Christina do in those days where you don't feel like being kind to yourself? I'm pretty sure there might be some self care stuff you do.
Yeah. So, I have a little one, so I'm running after her all the time. And I think when I put my phone away and I spend time with her and I just get in her world because she's nutty. She's a toddler and nutty and she's funny and she's happy and she's sad the next minute. And like just getting in the moment. It's really being about being in the present moment. And then there's times where it's literally Netflix and chocolate. And I kid you not. I'm like, what are we watching tonight? Put it on. I need to sit on the couch with my box of chocolate or whatever I got, and watch my Netflix and just zone out. And that's okay too. That's my self care. I'm not as much into doing the healthier things as I would like. I need to change that, and I will when I'm ready. And I recognize that. But certainly, it's phones away. Number one is a big, huge self care. Get rid of the phone, turn all the media off, and just be present in your day, in your moment with your people, and look at them in the eye when you talk to them, and listen to what they have to say, and play with the kids on the floor, your dog or cat or whatever. That makes a huge difference. Also, nature. Go outside, walk around. Get fresh air. Huge when you don't feel good. You don't realize it how therapeutic nature is, but even if you just sit outside and close your eyes, I'd always used to see my dad. He comes over and he would sit in the yard and just sit. And I'm like, what are you doing? Meditating. But like, he's not meditating in the sense of what we call it today, but he's like, I'm meditating. I'm just chilling. Like I gotta just chill. And he's always, always growing up would sit in the yard in his chair, a little, not a lounge chair, a regular old chair, and just sit with his eyes closed, relax. And that taught me a lot about there are moments you need to just do that. And I will do that. I will take moments when the weather's nicer and just sit outside 15 minutes, just nothing, no phone, no music, just sit, listen to the birds. I got to just decompress there. So that's an easy thing, right? But yeah, there's Netflix too. I mean, I can't help it. It's like, it sucks you in. And it's good. You forget about everything and you just go, I'm watching my show, and I always have to have a show. So I'm like, what's next? What are we binging next? It's an episode a day, but still, what am I going to watch? So
Oh, well, at least like an episode a day, ain't like 20.
no, I can't do that. I used to do that back in the day before a little one arrived, but I can't. And I don't have the attention span anymore. Like my attention span is like gone. So, but yes, I have done that where there's days where it just was like I couldn't stop and I watched all the episodes in a weekend. But now it's like one or two, and then I get like what's going to happen next, and I'm thinking about it. So I don't know if that's probably better just to binge it all and move on. But I don't know. Get it out of your system. But no, yeah. Oh my God. So self-care looks like all different things. It looks like chocolate. It looks like Netflix. It looks like a walk in the park. It looks like a nap. It looks like a whatever, a whatever. And you just got to go, I need this in the moment I'm doing it. And that's what I've gotten better at is like, I start to feel all wrong. That's the best way to describe it. I feel wrong in whatever way. And I'm like, stop. And what do I need to do? And I just go figure it out, because I think too many times we just go with that feeling and we don't address it. And that's when it builds up and builds up. And then we feel worse for longer, which is not what anybody wants.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Nobody wants that. Nobody.
No, who wants to feel bad? Nobody deserves to feel bad. You got to get it out of your own way. And we're our biggest issues, I think. We get in our own way a lot.
Sweet. So what does Christina do when she finds that she's in her own way from time to time?
That's a great question. I argue with myself about it in my head. Like, Like, for example, I'll use writing because that's easy. Like, I should be writing. Why am I not writing? I want to write. What am I doing? Like, I want to be writing. Why am I not doing it? And I'll fight. And it's like, just do it. Just write it down and do it. I have to work it out. I got to figure out why. I have to figure out why for me, because if I don't, it's going to keep coming up. And so I just go through the motions and I, kind of talk it out with myself in my head, like, why aren't you? And I'll ask, like, why aren't you writing? Like, what's holding you back? Like, I just try to figure out, why did you commit to this week and you don't want to do it? And then, essentially I give myself permission to screw up. Like, it's fine. I give myself permission to do things that aren't what I intended. But yeah, I try to get out of my own way and I try to just hit the reset button. But I need to know where it's coming from, because for me, it's going to come back. And I think everybody, it comes back again. And I also listen to people. Like, if I might get upset, but I listen. Like, if my husband will say, like, this is what's going on with you. Are you okay? Like, you seem frustrated, or I listen. And I'm like, you know what, I am, but I don't automatically come back. Like I used to go, and this isn't just with him, but like with anyone, it's like you automatically get defensive and you want to defend yourself as, no, I'm not. What do you mean? I just go, well, maybe, yeah, hold on. I know I'm frustrated. This is how I know. And this is just what it is. I'm in a bad mood and it's going to go away. But just like, I need 5 minutes to be annoyed. I'm annoyed, because it's very important to say that, because I think we go, what do you mean I'm annoyed? I'm not annoyed. What do you? And then don't get me wrong, I do that sometimes too, because I'm not thinking, because we're just human. I think that's a big message. Like, you're human, you're not going to be perfect all the time. And like, it's not always going to be the right answer, but I try to like listen to people before I go back and like go, am I doing that? And why, because I want to do better. I think when you don't want to do better, or you're happy with the way you are, then you don't, and that's okay too. You don't try to improve or like listen. And you don't always have to listen to everything everybody tells you. But I think I know, like, the people who know me, if I'm frustrated, they see it and I'm like, really? What did I say? Oh, I didn't realize. Well, maybe I'm stressed about this or that. So I just try to be aware, and I'm always looking to do better. And I don't, I'm not like, this is the way it is and that's it kind of man. I don't ever have that mentality. I'm always like, well, this is the way it is, but it can change. Do I want it to change? Sometimes I don't, so it's just being aware of who you are and who you want to be. That's the big behind all of everything I said is, who are you and who do you want to be? And if they're the same person, then that's great. Then continue on. If they're not, do something. Very simple, but difficult. As simple and difficult as that.
Simple and difficult. Go figure.
It is, right? It's as easy and it's hard. Just like writing. Writing is as easy and as hard. Like, it's easy sometimes and it's hard, but it's you just write the book. That's it, right? Just write it. Just write the novel. Simple. And it's not difficult. It's not simple. But that's what the answer is. You write the book. What you do when you can't write, you write. That's the answer. The answer to writer's block is writing, and other things people do. But like, you just write. You just write. Even if you're journaling, you just get those juices flowing and it comes out, But yeah, nothing's easy like that. But the answer is easy, but doing it. Everyone says it's easier said than done. Everything is easier said than done, right? Drink coffee. That was easy. But for me to go get a cup of coffee, fill it up and drink it, that's more difficult. So everything's easier said than done. Just gotta do it.
That's right. That's right indeed. Sometimes you just got to picture a pink golf ball inside of your mind.
Yeah, you just gotta go. Visualize what you want and you take a little baby step toward it. That's it. You don't have to do it all today. You don't have to do it all tomorrow, but you take a little baby step toward whatever it is you want. And if you decide you don't want that anymore, it's okay. Change course. That's another thing with writers. We get stuck on a story and we're not happy and it's not feeding our soul and we're not in it and we keep going. It's like, maybe you do need to come back to it, but trust yourself. You know the answer. If it's not working for you, there's a reason, and maybe you need to pause it and go to something else, or maybe you need a break and you'll come back to it. But you can change course. And I remember my editor, a fantastic editor, telling me, like, you are the decision maker. Your only job as an author is to make decisions. And that's what I was having a hard time with. Well, anything can happen in a book. So I'll look at all the, I have endless, limitless possibilities, but if something isn't working, change it. It's like, that's right, I can. But we get stuck on the investment we've put in and we don't want to change. But you can change anything at any time, not just in writing. You just have to make the decision and do it.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you just have to mount and do it indeed. That's right. Sometimes
Yes,
you have to
that's
do
it.
it indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in 2021 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Wow. Go live your dream. Don't do what everybody else thinks you should be doing. Go live your dream. Go to school if you want to go to school. Get the job you really want. It will work out. Don't just go through the motions in life. And that I think is really important. It's like life is short. People are here for a moment and then not. And so enjoy the people, but go for your dreams. Go do what you've always wanted to do and don't let anything stop you, no matter what. And it'll work out the way it's supposed to work out. Don't be so, stressed about everything. That's what I would say. Don't worry about everything so much. Just go do what you want to do and don't give up. And I think that's important for anybody right now, especially now. You just got to go for it. It's nothing is easy. Everything takes hard work. Nobody except maybe like a small percentage of the population has like instant success, right? That's a fluke. That's not real. That's what we see, but that's not real. The real is the hard work for a long time, and then outcome is what you want because you never gave up. You didn't let it go. You worked on it and you moved forward. So that's the advice. It's like just whatever it is you want to do with your life, do it, and don't let anything get in your way. That is maybe not a career. Maybe that's, finding somebody in a relationship and having a family, or if it's moving and going to Europe and going, going and exploring. Maybe it could be whatever it is. If that's what's in your heart, you have to pursue it because this is why we're here. We're here to experience life, enjoy it, and going through the motions and just doing what everybody else says you should do or what seems like the right thing because it makes sense. If that's not truly what you want to do, then you've got to figure that out and go do it and truly live your life because that's what it's all about. Being happy, enjoying every day, and spending the time you want with the people you love and not worrying so much. Things are going to happen the way they're going to happen no matter what. And we have very little control over anything. So you just got to enjoy and live.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Live your life indeed. Embrace that dream. That's right. Embrace it. That's right. Fulfill that desire. That's right.
That's it. Live it. That's why we're here. What else are we doing? We didn't come here to, work and pay bills. We're here to live, right?
Wait,
Connect with people, live
we're
our
not
life,
here to pay bills, really?
right?
I thought we were here to pay bills and
That's
work.
really how it feels sometimes, right? It just feels like I mean, we're here to live our life. We got to do that too. Okay, so we have to pay bills too. But yeah, but
Not
that's not
Clinton, though.
what life. I know. I could let that go. But that's how life. That's not how what life is supposed to be. Life is supposed to be filled with more than that. So let's figure out what that is, and we can do it today, no matter how old you are or what stage you are. You figure it out. What do you love? Even if it's just a hobby, go do it. And I was a little coaster I have in my car that says do more of what you love. And it's so true. Like, what do you love? Do more of it. Like it again, that's simple and that hard. But you like to go, play a sport, do more of that. You like to read, do more of that. Like the little things that bring us joy make such a difference. And we don't even recognize that. We're like, oh, we're too busy. I can't read a book, or I'm too busy. I don't have time to write, or I'm too busy. I can't go for a walk. Like, what makes you feel good? Do more of that and find time for it and actually prioritize it above everything else. Like put your walks in if that's what brings you joy 3 times a week or whatever. before you schedule anything. That comes first. As writers, I've always heard words come first. The words come first. Do the words before anything else. Like if you have to get up at 5 a.m, which is what I used to do, and get those words done, then your day is done. You're good for the day. Get your words in. Do it, whatever is important to you, the most critical thing, the thing that brings you the most joy, that gets you like on a high for the day, do that first. And that's, I used to do my words every morning, and I would get up, and typically that is when I will do them. And then I'm like, oh, I did my words. I feel good. I feel good for the day. Or exercise. If you like to exercise, do your exercise first. Like, just prioritize it. And then everything else will follow.
Well, speaking of following, for those who want to keep up with what you're doing, heck, even subscribe to that magical newsletter where they'll get that new magical book, heck, maybe even audiobook that you might even read yourself. What's the best way for folks to keep in contact with you?
The best way is KristinaRienzi.com. Always email me at Kristina@KristinaRienzi.com. But my website has everything, connections to social media, my newsletter, all the things. And I am on Instagram as Kristina Rienzi. So you're happy to, would love for you guys to follow me there. But certainly if you just go to my website, it has all my blogs. I do a blog post every other week. My newsletter comes out every other week. They're inspirational, they're empowering. There's sometimes information about books, but mostly it's to help you get through life. And if you want a little pop of inspiration and happiness in your mailbox every other week, you can subscribe. And yes, you're absolutely right. When that book comes out, my subscribers will get it for free first.
Yeah. So there you have it, folks. Head over to KristinaRienzi.com. Follow her, slide into her magical DMs and be like, hey, you're freaking awesome. Like, hey, I'm going to buy like 50 copies each of all your freaking books. Freaking love you. Like, love what you freaking do. Like, hell.
You're,
Bye.
you're funny.
What?
That would be awesome, but I like a hi too. Like, hey, how are you? Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Just connecting with the world. That's my my legacy here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's right. Spiderweb swag ahoy. So any parting words before we close up shop?
Yeah, just I want to thank everybody for showing up in life the best way you can, and for having me on the show. And just like I said before, don't forget, like, live your dream, and you can change anything you want today. So never give up on that dream, whatever it may be.
This is your host, Don Braben. Hope you enjoyed what you just heard. And if you really did, do me a solid and leave a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, wherever you're listening to. And subscribe to hear more, because more is coming your way to advance you further than before.